So on the last training, one of the biggest things we discussed was about thoughts becoming things and this huge importance on what we think about, how we control our mind, that thoughts are decisions. We committed to the habits for March of how we're going to think. And as I said, when I backed up in the WhatsApp groups this morning, you can get up and think, oh my God, today's going to be a disaster. Or you think, today is a great day and I'm grateful to be alive. You have to understand that that is a choice. And it comes down to something called cognitive dissonance, which I've been researching, which I'm going to come on to at the end. Don't let that phrase freak you out. It's a lot more simple than it is. But some simple tips to start with to help us with these thought processes is, well, one, you're here watching this video for a start, which is great, because that is what you are doing. What are you doing right now? What was I doing when I was planning this presentation? What do I plan? What do I do for 2, 3, 4, sometimes up to 8 hours a day, dependent on where I'm at mentally? I feed my brain with positive thoughts. I feed my brain with personal development. I feed my brain with positive people. So we have to understand, we've discussed this many times, whatever we put in, we get out. This is why very often your peer group might not be helping you. If you're even married to someone that is negative as fuck 24/7, then if you want to live a happy life, you're going to have to make a decision. Because I would personally say, sort this out or I'm off. End of conversation. I'm here for you to help you for a certain period, but after that, I don't want to live this life. Because it's impossible for you to move forward. If you have a partner who refuses to change, family members that refuse to change, friends that refuse to change, if you refuse to change, if you continue to I could do a 30-day mental health course for free that would change the lives of 90% of people in this country who claim to suffer with depression. Stop drinking alcohol, stop taking drugs, stop watching the news, stop reading the newspapers, and stop hanging around with negative people who, do nothing but pull you down. Simple. That's it. Pretty cheap course, that, isn't it? 5 things you need to do. Because that is the most simple task. Probably the most simple task you could do to improve your mental health is those 5 things. It's so simple. Like, if you spend your life scrolling on social media, listening to moany, whiny, bitchy little victims who just want to sit at the bottom of the pity party tree, if you spend your life watching TV, if you spend your life reading the newspapers, if you spend your life watching drama, other people's drama, basically, if you spend your life spectating, then think about what you are feeding. It's no different to normal food. You're feeding your brain negative thoughts all day, every day. And then you wonder why you are struggling. And dependent on the level of people that you do hang around with, I run on coffee, and your peer group, what you may have subconsciously not realized, and this isn't your fault, you are being subconsciously programmed to think a certain way, to behave a certain way. You are being fed fear, negativity, scarcity, worry, subconsciously. And this is why I'm so tight on my peer group. You are literally doing things for hours and hours and hours and hours every day that are feeding your brain negativity. And then you're wondering why you can't think positively, because you will what you think you will become. As I've said, do go back and watch Friday's training, because the reality of what we need to get used to is, one, our thoughts control us. So as I said today, you can wake up and go, right, yes, my thoughts are happy, positive, planned, progress, mission, purpose, let's go. I'm happy, I'm grateful, I'm ready, I'm up early, I've had a coffee, I'm going to exercise, I'm in charge. That's just thoughts. That's all they are. Or you can get up and you can, oh, I've got so much to do today. Oh, so and so pissed me off last week. Oh, kids are doing my head in. Oh, cost of living. Oh God. Oh God. Jesus. It's 8 a.m. I can't even be asked already. Oh God. So what I'll do is I'll scroll on social media. You see what I mean? It's the same thing, but in different channels. And we have to understand that we are in control of it. We are in control. So have a radar that allows you not to be programmed by others. This is why I only want to be around positive, happy, energetic people who are on a mission, who have purpose, who have focus, who want bigger things, who want to reach their potential. This is why I don't really get triggered anymore when people leave, because there's some people leaving, and guess what? There's some better people coming in. So it's just a natural cycle. You know, everything will become stronger, but sometimes you need to let some people go. That's just the way it is. Okay. That's the same with me as a business. I can't save everyone. I can't save the world. And I would rather a negative person left, because then what does that do? Makes room for another positive person to come in. So then the team gets stronger. And Logan gave me the lesson on this, which is crazy, right? Said this so many times. Look on the screen. 5 years old, and he's already my biggest teacher. I moderately raised my voice at him and got snappy when he was being a little sod in the car when I picked him up from school. And I'm not even talking like when you hear parents, get in here, not that kind of. I just literally went, mate, for God's sake, and just raised my voice a little bit because he was really, really messing around. And his little face dropped and he went, I don't like you sad, daddy. I don't like you angry. I just want you happy all the time. So he already knows that at 5 years old, like the influence of those two different things. Like, this is why they're our greatest teacher. He knows the type of, he's 5, he can barely talk, and he already knows the type of people he wants to be around. He knows the energy he wants to be around. He knows that shouting and borderline anger and snappiness didn't make him happy, and he doesn't want to be around those people. So, you know, that's why, and don't get this wrong as well, because I've said this many times. It's the most asked question I've had in the last 20 years. How do I get rid of negative people? How do I get rid of toxic influences? Yeah, I get what you're saying, Lee, but what if it's my husband? Well, stop avoiding the difficult conversation and have the conversation. That's route one. What if it's my wife? What if it's my mum? Have the difficult conversation. Or, you know, all 90% of the negative people that I've removed from my life, even though, as I say, I firmly don't believe there's negative and positive people, there's just people that are all doing their best with the emotional tools that they have available for them and where they're at this point in their life. Let's not forget, most of us were them one day in the past. We've just moved forward. So I haven't rang them all up and gone, hey up, mate, I'm removing you from my life because you're toxic. I just choose to spend less time around them. And this is where I think people get it wrong. All my mates that I don't really spend any time with anymore because of their habits and the way they behave, and that none of their values align with mine. They still do drugs every weekend. They still get pissed every weekend. They still get into fights. They've got no career aspirations. A lot of them aren't particularly great parents, in my opinion. And they're, for want of a better word, they're just losers that are drifting through life. That all they want to do is get through to another weekend so they can get pissed out of their brains again, escape life, and be a terrible partner and a terrible father. That's the bottom line truth. But I haven't felt the need to tell them all that. I haven't rang them up and went, I don't really agree with the way you're living your life. It's none of my fucking business. And the reality is, I still love them. I still love all of them. They're still my friends. I haven't removed them on Facebook. I haven't blocked them. If you say things like I'm coming off social media because it's so negative, grow up. That's your thoughts. You're looking to justify. There's not negative people. There's just your thoughts about them. So just remove and choose not to feed your mind with that negativity. Doesn't mean you don't have to, doesn't mean you can't love them. Doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. Just choose to spend less time with them. So you're controlling that what's going into your brain and the way that you're being programmed. As you guys know, I've removed people from the main WhatsApp group, the elite one where we all chat, because I won't have that negativity in there. I removed one person against a lot of people's wishes, but I will protect it. Doesn't mean I don't love that person. Doesn't mean I don't care about them. Doesn't mean I'm not there for them, but I will protect my energy and your energy. So you have to realize as well, look at every great sports team. Look at every great business. They are all controlled by the mental attitude of the leader. It's that simple, or the mental attitude of the players, how they operate as a team. And when that breaks down, that's when everyone starts whining, moaning, bitching. You see this in football teams, don't you? Players start losing matches, so they start, football players on a pitch. Two players, I saw this on the TV the other day, two players on the same team having a fight. Like, that would not happen in my team. Neither of those players would ever play for my team again if I was captain. In fact, they wouldn't even have made it down the tunnel. I'd have got someone else to take their stuff out and got them out of the team. Okay? Exactly what happened with two doormen when I worked at the clubs, and then I ended up in a 2-year employment tribunal because they beat someone up for no reason whatsoever. I said, just go, get out. You're not part of this team. It's not how we behave. It's not how we operate. So we have to have a standard, right? And we have to understand that when this breaks down, then the power of the team breaks down. So I would only need 3 or 4 bad apples in that WhatsApp group, and all of a sudden, there's a few people that start thinking, actually, it's easier for me to be a bad apple. It's easier to blame, complain, and justify than it is to do the work. It's easier to play the victim than it is to play the warrior. It's easier than it is to moan than shut the fuck up and actually do what you said you would. So positive consciousness produces positive results. So we have to be conscious of whether we're being positive or not. Positive thoughts produce positive results. Positive actions produce positive results. Positive people produce positive results. But your entire physical, some of this is a bit close to the line, get ready. Your entire physical and emotional well-being is the reality of your thoughts. As I said, what you think about, you become. Now, all of the what's called psychosomatic illnesses, depression, anxiety, stress, this triggers you. I'm sorry, but I'm always going to be authentic. I'm off work with stress. Nope. You're off work because you have an inability to control your emotions. That's what it is. But there's a direct correlation here. Okay. They're not illnesses. Stress is not an illness. Anxiety is not an illness. It's bad mind management. Because with psychosomatic illnesses, everything comes from the thoughts. Your thoughts made you stressed. Your thoughts made you anxious. Your thoughts made you depressed. Now, I'm not saying for any second that stress, anxiety, and depression can't be fatal. They can. All of them have been proved to be fatal. So I'm not saying they're not very serious things. They are. Don't get me confused there. But they all come from the thought. You didn't catch stress. You didn't catch anxiety. You didn't snog Jane up the road and catch depression. Okay? It came from your thoughts. And psychosomatic illnesses are the relationships that are also classed between mental health and physical health, between mental illness and physical illness. There is barely a disease in the body anymore that doesn't have some form of emotional counterpart. So this shows how strong the connection is between the power of our mind and our physical well-being. As you think about, or what you think about, you will become. So if you think anxious thoughts, you will have anxiety. If you think depressed thoughts, you will become depressed. If you think stressful thoughts, you will become depressed. So what's the answer? It's so simple when I say it now, isn't it? Change your thoughts. Control your thoughts. Manage your mind. Manage what you are feeding into your brain. Manage who you are listening to. Because every single thought you have is shaping your life. This is when it's called cognitive dissonance. But don't allow your thoughts to control you. This is when people go into victim mindset. Life happens to me, not for me. When you can understand that life happens for you to give the lessons and the gifts that you need to move forward, not life happens to me, that's when you'll become more in control. What you think about, you become. If you're struggling, write that down every morning. What I think about, I become. But what most people don't do, which is why we end up stressed, anxious, and depressed, is that we do not question our thoughts. We don't challenge our beliefs. We don't challenge our own beliefs. Don't forget, some of your beliefs have been programmed into you since you were 6 years old. Some of you will have had neggy parents who come out with utter crap non-stop about how the world's bad and rich people are evil and nothing ever works out for them and it's different for them and fucking hell, everyone in our family's always been big. No, they haven't. Everyone in your family's already had negative food habits and eaten too much fucking food and not exercised. Nothing to do with your family always being big. But imagine having that programmed into you from 6 years old. Programmed into you that you're not good enough. Programmed into you that no one in your family really achieves everything. Programmed into you that it's different for people like you. Mind-blowing, right? So it's not your fault, but what we are in control of is starting to challenge these thoughts. Okay, is that true? No, it's not true. I'm real proof that it's not true. But the reality is we cannot even process an event that's happened without running it through our mind. Think about that. So we decide whether we make that thought a belief and a value, or whether we decide to challenge it and create our own beliefs and our own values. You guys heard me say so many times when I was off with when I went deaf, still half deaf now, but when I was off with that, remember when I did that training in the car on the way to Grantley Hall and I kept saying all these things and afterwards I said, and that means, and that means, and that means. What that means is every thought we have, we decide what meaning we give to it and whether we make it about us or not. So again, if a client leaves this plan, what's that? That's an event. That's a situation. That's a circumstance. So this has to go through here, whoop, and be processed. And then I decide what meaning I give to it. I'm in control of that. I can go, oh, they must have left because I didn't deliver stuff. I must not be rubbish as a coach. They must not like me. I must have upset them. Oh, God. And allow that programming to become my identity and who I am. Or I can decide what meaning I give to it. I can make it about me or I can make it not about me. Well, the truth was, they're just another person who didn't want to do the work. That's it, end of. Case closed. On to the next person who does want help. I decide whether to give it meaning or not. This is the same with little conversations at work. This is the same with relationships. This is the same with everything. We decide what meaning we give to it. Okay, let's say someone slags you off, for example. Someone is negative about you. Someone tells someone else a hurtful comment about you that you find out. And that means, well, they're just not the person you thought they were. they're actually not very nice. Actually, I quite feel sorry for them. Is their life that sad that the only way they have to make themselves feel better is by slagging me off in private, thinking I'm not going to find out? Wow, poor person. I'm not angry at them. So I decided the meaning. Or I can get angry, reactive, slag them off back, question them on it, pull them up, confrontation, drain my energy. I could give that energy to helping people who actually want help. See how it's exactly the same thing? I just decide what I make it mean. I'm in charge. And I don't always get this right, by the way, guys. You know this. I'm not perfect. But, and that means. So the next time someone says something hurtful about you, and that means, well, crikey. Thanks for spectating my life, hon. Would you like a season ticket? Because I'm going to carry on building mine whilst you're watching mine and talking about me behind my back. Feel free to continue watching my social media for continued updates on my progress. Do you get what I mean? See, I'm having fun with it to make it understandable, but you decide what you make it mean. And cognitive dissonance actually is a condition. It's what I've been researching this weekend. So I'm going to I don't think I fully understand it myself, but I'm about 90% there. So what cognitive dissonance is, it's drop me a yes if you've ever done something and then thought straight afterwards, oh shit, why the hell did I do that? That's not me. That's not who I am. I really shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have punched that person. This isn't who I am anymore. So I'm sure you've all done that. Or even just simple, God, I wish I hadn't have said that. Like there's a great book, by the way, called the Chimp Paradox by Stephen somebody, I think. I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, he very much works on this thing of teaching people how to understand mind management. So you've got one part which is your naughty chimp, and one part which is kind of the more controlled. It's whether it's the what they call, you've got your prefrontal cortex and you've got your amygdala, which are two separate parts of the brain. One kind of processes the information, gathers all the facts, then delivers a planned and calm response. The other one just throws the punch and asks questions later. So I've done this so many times. And again, I'll tell you a perfect example. Once I wanted to die when this happened. Once I left the club at 2 o'clock and I left two people in charge, and I got fed a little bit of a story about what happened when I left, that someone that I'd barred had been let in. And basically, by the time I'd woken up, I completely created the whole rest of the story myself, without gathering any evidence, without talking to the managers, without talking to the bar staff. And I went absolutely batshit crazy at the person that I'd left in charge with and fired them without any evidence. And I threatened to do something not very nice to the person that was barred that had come into the club. When I stepped back and actually gathered all the evidence from loads of people, the person had come to the front door. I'd also created this bit in my head because I'd seen the person in the hotel opposite where I was staying, and I'd created all this story in my head that person had actually stayed in the hotel. They'd all conspired against me. They'd waited until they saw me got in the car and drive home, and then said person had left the hotel to come into the club to see the DJ they want. All of that was just bullshit that I created in my own head. And when I'd gathered all the facts and I spoke to two of the managers, and they said, do you know what? He was actually really polite. He paid. He apologized, and he said, could he just come into the club for 15 minutes to say hello to the DJ? He would have a drink and then he would leave after that, which is the entirety of what happened. Hardly a situation worth causing a war over, was it? But because I filled in all the gaps, I literally caused chaos. And then tea time that Saturday pretty much had to ring most of the people and apologize. Anyway, what I'm saying is that's how sometimes the brain just gets carried away and we act out of accordance with our values, our desires, and our beliefs. That's what cognitive dissonance is. Now, why this is so crucial is that most people will never do what I just did there. So I went, shit. I got this one wrong, big style. Gonna have to get on the phone and make this right. Gonna have to apologize. And the example that I'm sure he's called Stephen something uses in that. It's doing my head in. Someone Google the chimp paradox and tell me who wrote it. He uses an example whereby there's a husband and wife, and the wife is waiting for the husband to get home at 7 p.m. because he's taking her out for dinner. It gets to 7 p.m. He's still not home. She rings him. He doesn't answer. So she leaves him this literally vile voice note that says their marriage is over. He's an effing FFFFF. He can stick dinner up his backside, yada, 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 yada. Anyway, 7:05, the husband calls back. And Stephen Peters, that's it. 7:05, the husband calls back. He'd been the car behind a really nasty car accident on the way home, and he was only 5 minutes away from home. And the reason why he didn't answer his phone was because he was on the phone to the paramedics waiting for the ambulance to arrive. As soon as he got off the phone, he called her back. So you can see how she took like no evidence, no nothing at all, didn't even wait 5 minutes and went, because we don't gather the facts and the evidence first. And this is the same with the mind management. So rather than just allowing this thought to come in, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I can never lose weight. Oh, I can never think positively. Oh, I'm depressed. Challenge it. Okay, gather evidence and challenge it. What evidence do you have that you're not good enough? Because there isn't any 95% of the time. So cognitive dissonance is when we act out of accordance with our values and beliefs. But the danger of cognitive dissonance is that the brain will then, 9 times out of 10, try to rationalize the decision, try to justify it, try to justify the mistake. So rather than just dealing with it and saying, I got that wrong, I'm sorry. Well, it wasn't my fault because da 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 da, and then it continues and it continues and continues. So what we often try to do is, and this is definitely cognitive dissonance, we try to change our beliefs to make ourselves feel better. Because let's face it, who doesn't want to feel better? This is the classic, this fitness thing's not for me. Again, I'm sorry if this triggers you, but you shouldn't get triggered by this word. This is why some overweight people say, yeah, I might be fat, but I'm happy. No, don't agree. Not if it's to a level where they're getting out of breath and struggling to walk up the stairs, can't fit in any clothes. No. What they're doing is cognitive dissonance. The opposite is too hard. That's what everyone in our family's always been big commenters about. They're trying to justify it. They're trying to make themselves feel better. But the great thing is, the amazing thing is we can also, this is why people justify why they drink. This is why people justify why they take drugs, why they gamble, why they watch pornography, why they get into fights, why they cheat. They justify all of it. They know it's out of alignment with their beliefs. But here's why it happens. What happens if you don't justify it? You have to challenge your own beliefs. And when you challenge your own beliefs, you have to change. And when you have to change, you have to change your identity. And when you change your identity, you can change your own personal reality, which deep down is what everyone wants, but it's going to take work. And the great thing about cognitive dissonance is that we can do it with positive habits as well. And positive behaviors that our previous personality wouldn't allow or would prevent us from making it happen, prevent us from saying those things, because this is what keeps us stuck. Because the new thing that you want, i.e., positive mental health, fat loss, building muscles, new career, new relationship, new attitude, new life, more money, running further, better career, more happiness, more health, more wealth. I could go on forever. and everything in between that you know deep down in your heart that you want, you're worthy of, and you can achieve, conflicts with your current beliefs. That is still cognitive dissonance. And your current beliefs might be, I'm not good enough. Nobody will ever love me. I'm a failure. I'm a technophobe. Don't even get me started on that one. No one's ever going to dare say that to me ever again, are they? Okay. But the dangerous thing is, guys, it's not your fault because it's what's become your identity because of what's been fed in your brain. Some poor children are told that they'll never amount to anything, that they'll never be anything. That's exactly what I was told from about 6 years old until I went back to live with my granddad. You're too small, you're not clever, you'll never make anything of your life. And imagine that. So then you have to, this will have happened to you, partners, teachers, parents. As I said, imagine being told that from a young age. Everyone in our family's always been big. Everyone in our families never had their own business. Everyone in our families insert any form of self-limiting belief. But these thoughts, just like positive ones, can become so strong that they become your personal reality. They become your identity. And they're like a fucking magnet. Like every time you try to move forward and achieve something, these thoughts pull you back in. No, you're not good enough. No, you're not clever enough. No, you're not tall enough. No, you're not strong enough. And these show up in reality as fear, inaction, procrastination, and very often justification as to why you're not good enough, because it's become your belief process. And all your beliefs come from your thoughts. So imagine there's just 30 days of writing down, I am good enough. I am enough. I am intelligent. I am strong. I don't quit. I'm a winner. I am loved. I am enough. Over and over and over again, because thoughts become things. Things become outcomes. This then becomes your identity. This then becomes your personal reality. And then you'll start to magnetize all other people that feel like that. Or you can keep believing them. You can not challenge the thoughts and you can stay with familiar, safe, comfortable, certain. But if you want to let this new reality in, just like we do the negative thing and then, we've got this cognitive dissonance because it was out of alignment with our values and beliefs, i.e., I keep saying I want to lose weight, but I can't keep my fucking feet out of the fridge. It's the opposite things. I want to stop drinking, but deep down, I'm still getting pissed every night. That same thing, we have to challenge it the other way. Does this make sense? So if we want a new reality, we challenge the thoughts the other way. Rather than I've done the negative, now I'm not going to challenge it. Well, I'm going to start challenging everything. And this is called a commitment to the new you. So when I do the positive, I'm not going to allow the negative things to come back in, because if we want a new reality, we have to fight back against these thoughts. So it's the opposite. This is quite complex, I know. That's why I said I haven't fully got my head around it yet. But that's it. It's the cognitive dissonance working in both channels. Is this making sense? So one channel is I'm doing the negative thing and then I feel the need to justify because it's out of alignment with who I truly want to be. But the other one is I'm now fighting back and doing the things that I truly want to be, but then something keeps pulling me back in, very often because we're being fed by other people. And we can't move forward. We can't become the new you. We can't become the new person. We can't achieve the new goals and reach our potential if we're not open to new possibilities. And for instance, a person who says, I'm no good with tracking food. I'm a technophobe. They're not even open to the possibility of learning to track food on an app. I can never run. I've got bad knees. They're not even open to they're not even open to the possibility of going for a walk and then trying to jog for 30 seconds. I'm not clever enough. I'm not intelligent enough. They're not even open to the possibility of picking a fucking book up and starting to learn. They've closed everything off, and we've got to be open to it, because your thoughts about yourself and who you are and what you want to achieve and your beliefs, those are what will determine your behavior. Same thing if you say to yourself, I can never stop drinking, guess what? You'll never be able to stop drinking, because it's become your thoughts and your beliefs. And the cognitive dissonance is when we do, there's so many people that truly want to get fit. They truly want to stop eating crap. They truly want to stop drink drugs or whatever else it does to self-soothe. But their cognitive dissonance keeps pulling them back like a magnet, because they haven't yet convinced their mind enough with enough thoughts that that truly is who they want to be. Because you don't forget, you've been the old person. This is why I struggled to give up the negative habits. Fucking hell, you've got to remember, I've been party Lee for 10 years. That's 10 years of thoughts, beliefs, actions, and identity. And this is then when you go through that period of, oh, I'm good for 3 weeks, and then I go have a little party. I'm good for 2 weeks, then I self-sabotage. I'm good for 4 weeks, and then I self-sabotage. Because in order to really become the new you and develop your new personality and your new personal reality, you have to let go of that person. And most people can't do it because cognitive dissonance pulls them back. Because deep down, Karen still likes getting her chippy tea every Friday night. Deep down, Karen doesn't want to give up wine on a Sunday. Deep down, Karen doesn't really want to change anything. So she'll do it for a bit, but then her identity pulls her back because she has to let go of old Karen in order to become new Karen. But you will always be consistent. Your behavior will always be consistent with your key beliefs and thoughts about yourself, because your thoughts will determine your behavior. Back here again, what we think about, we become. So if you think I'm not good enough, that's how you'll act. If you think nobody could ever love me, that's how you'll act. If you think I can't lose weight, that's how you'll act. If you think I'm not intelligent enough, that's how you will act. If you think I'm not worthy of this job when you go into the interview, that's how you will act. Your thoughts will become your personal reality. I'm not very good at. No, and that just means you've not tried hard enough. You've not worked hard enough. You've not tried to learn. I'm not very good at means I haven't practiced enough. I'm not very good at using MyFitnessPal. No, you've not tried to use MyFitnessPal for long enough. But very often, because that belief has become that ingrained, I'm not good enough, people don't even try. They don't even look outside of their current personal identity. So they keep behaving the same way and wonder why they're trapped in this cycle. Just like children, every time they touch discomfort, they run a mile, which is what a child will do. It's what cold water dipping's all about. Or cold shower. Oh, touch discomfort, quick, run back to the old me. Or actually, this is a bit easier now because I've done it 3, 4, 5 times. And what's dangerous is not only do they touch the discomfort, they then run back to the comfort instead. So I went to the gym, didn't like it, felt uncomfortable, drove home, stopped at the chippy, got an instant payoff without doing any work. But what the mind will then do, this classic phrase, Calorie counting doesn't work for me. That's like saying breathing doesn't work for me. I mean, I know everyone else is doing this breathing stuff and they're like, well, that breathing stuff doesn't work for me. Because what people do is, and this is what comes down to the cognitive dissonance and challenging your thoughts. If you can start to challenge your thoughts today, if you can start to replace every negative positive, if you can start to replace every I can't with a I can, your life will change forever. And day by day by day, you will start to move towards your true potential. But when we go back to our old self, when we go backwards, he wants to go backwards, not me, I want to go forwards, back to our old identity, back to our old habits, back to our old beliefs, back to our old thoughts. And we're back at thoughts again. What does the mind do? Does it tell you the truth or does it justify? It justifies it every time, subconsciously. This is what cognitive dissonance is. Yeah, it was only one chippy. I only had a couple of drinks. Yeah, I might have overreacted, but we all get stressed sometimes. It doesn't tell the truth. And it's almost like we want to get our own mind to call ourselves out on our own bullshit. And I said to you guys at Mindset Mastery, that was when I truly moved forward. I looked in the mirror and I went, Lee, you are a liar. Stop lying. Stop being so full of shit. Stop saying you want one thing and doing the other. Because until you can stop telling those lies, as long as you continue to complain, blame, and justify, you're not going anywhere. Because this is also what children do. And it's called self-soothing. You believe your own bullshit to make yourself feel better. But remember this. Remember the truth. Every time you say, I can't, I'm not, or I am, followed by a negative, what you really mean, if you're willing to call yourself out and you really want this new you, this new identity, this new personal reality, you really want to reach your true potential, get out of the position of pain you're in to a position of pleasure and create a whole new identity and the happier, healthier, wealthier life that you keep saying that you want, you have to remember the truth is not that you can't, not that you're not, it's that you're not willing to because you prefer easy. And the easy self-soothing option that you keep feeling the need to justify, which is completely out of alignment with the values and beliefs that you say you want and the person that you want to become, those easy options are going to keep giving you a hard life. Guys, I love you all. Have an amazing Monday. Let's start the week strong. Stay unbreakable.